supposedly it's spring.
Yeah, well, the weather's acting like it
It's
is,
nice.
but it's God knows we're sniffling enough.
I know, man. I was on vacation and like I was like had a great time, came back, and now I feel sick. And I'm like, is it the change of the season, or I was in a different allergy zone in the south of America, or am I actually just sick? But yes, I'm sniffling. Sorry,
Yeah,
folks.
it sounds like allergies to me
Maybe.
because your head's all foggy and like you're having trouble with clarity, and that usually is how allergies make me feel. Like I'm like I don't know where I am. I think that's sometimes how business owners feel.
Uh,
They're in an allergy coma.
That's funny. Like there's seasons to business allergies, I guess, right?
Yeah, there are. There are. You know, it's kind of funny if you think
Yeah.
about it. We go through these foggy seasons in our businesses where we lack the clarity. We can't see the forest through the trees, and you know, it's like you got to go take some Benadryl to clear it all up. But sometimes that Benadryl is making that sale, getting rid of something else, changing something, doing something different,
Well,
etc.
for us, it was really like submitting to the reality of the situations recently, and it's like you know submitting to that reality of like what works for us to acquire new clients. And I know every business goes through this of like you find your way to generate your leads and talk to potential prospects and make them into clients. And it's like we all try many different methods of doing this, whether it's advertising or social media or going to networking events or doing email campaigns, all these varieties of different things. And I know for us it was an interesting week to really submit to the reality of what we're best at, not necessarily what is best, right? And that sometimes you have to really take a hard look in the mirror and be like, all right, there are things that work for people and work for industry and work for society, but maybe that's not what's best for you. And you have to really accept that your reality is different than what either your competitors or society or anybody else is. And sometimes when you try to force home, like, hey, I'm going to make this thing work, it doesn't, it might work, but not really the way you wanted it to because it's not natural to you. And like we a year ago or so, we did a tremendous amount of advertising, and there were so many things right about it and so many things wrong about it. But what it didn't produce was the results that we had hoped, right? And I don't think it was that advertising is bad, right? Advertising obviously works very, very well. It could have been the way we advertised wasn't the best way. What we were advertising wasn't good. I mean, we definitely put enough money behind it, so I know that wasn't the fault. It could have been the person we used, the things we said. It could have been a million different things. And you can keep iterating that and get better and better and better at it. But sometimes you have to continue to do what you're naturally best at. And for us, that's building relationships. That's what we've always done for both of our individual careers through working in atomic business coaching. I mean, we even met at networking events. And that's really what we do best is build relationships. And I think a lot of our clients are I don't know if it's because we're going through it, but or maybe we're going through it because they're going through it. But we're starting to recognize many, many people have to get back down to the basics of like you have to build relationships. And I think this stems much from us and most of our clients are more relationship style businesses. They're not transactional. They're not selling widgets. They're not selling a pair of jeans or, a vitamin water or something like that. Things like that you can advertising works very, very well. Social media is good and doing those things. But when you're building a relationship, you have to look at everything a little bit differently and it takes time, right? And yes, you could still build relationships through advertising and social media but for us, typically where it starts is that face to face, belly to belly, eye to eye interaction with somebody in real life. Sometimes yes, on Zoom, but that's where it starts for us. And when we took a look over the past few months at like where does most of our business generate from, that's been it. And it's funny. And I was with a group of our clients the other day. You weren't in the room. And I was telling them, I'm like, Tom and I have kind of known this for 2 years. When I was out to dinner with you, and I said one client, like, it was that when we went to that steakhouse, and after, like, we need to do this. And like, we just hadn't submitted to the reality of like, that's the best path forward for Adam and Tom in atomic business coaching. Because we were hoping, like, quite honestly, we were hoping there was an easier way.
Yeah. It all comes down to, you have either you're making excuses for the things that aren't working, or you're handling the problem and you're handling the situation. I always say excuses, and we see this with a lot of our business owners right now. They're constantly making excuses for why things aren't happening the way they expect it to happen. And instead of just solving the problem or resolving the problem, they keep piling on excuse after excuse after excuse. And after a while, excuses just become these self-inflicted obstacles that we have to overcome. And it doesn't allow us to submit to the reality like you're talking about. You and I have been very good at consistently being critical of what we do, right? Making sure that we know exactly who we're trying to market to, and who we're trying to meet, and who we're trying to build a relationship with, and making sure that our services and our products and our offers all make sense. And we are constantly iterating. We are never, we don't make the excuses, but one of the things I keep seeing over and over is people just keep putting up more excuses when things aren't working, and they start to blame other people. And that's where like the victim mindset comes in. And that's also where the hyperachiever comes in, because they're not getting the result that they want. So they just keep going after it, thinking that if I do the same thing over and over, I'm going to get different results. But that's insanity, as we all know. And it's just because they have this compilation of excuse, one right after the other, instead of addressing the real problem. And in order for us to truly submit to our reality, we have to be devoid of excuses. There are no excuses. Stop making excuses. Just go out and do the thing. Try the thing. If that doesn't work, find another way that does work. Keep moving the ball forward. Keep moving the needle forward, because if you don't do that, you wind up in stagnation. And I think that's where a lot of people start to, like, to go back to our earlier, or how we open this, is they get foggy. They lose their direction because they have been buried in their excuses instead of addressing the problems of their reality. Listen, if reality says your product or your service is not being accepted by other people, or it's too expensive for other people, or other people are saying they can't afford it, and there's all these obstacles, you have to adjust. You have to adjust to what the market is telling you. Every product in the world adjusts if it's going to be successful, because it does look at what are the people really asking for. You may know that your service is the right thing, but you can't stay stuck on it, that if someone needs you, that you can only deliver that service. You have to adapt that service. You have to work with that person to help them. Now, this kind of contradicts what we've said in the past on things, but it's important to adjust when you're in a place where you're not generating any revenue, like one of our clients, and stop making the excuses and address the problem.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're dealing with problems every single day and have no clue how to handle them, then check us out. Go to atomicbusinesscoaching.com, see what we're doing. We have the Simple CEO, which will allow you to truly become a CEO. Go check it out, atomicbusinesscoaching.com.
The problem, like you're saying, excuses, is the biggest excuse we hear with most people is when I have this, then I'll do that, and then I'll become the success I've always wanted to be. It's, have, do, be. And that's where most people give the excuse. It's like, I don't have this yet. I don't have the employee. I don't have the cash flow. I don't have the system set up. And until I have that, I can't do this, so I can become that. And I heard a great way of like flipping that backwards. And it's really, you have to be this so you can do that, and then you'll have these things. And if you just reverse that, if someone's like, well, once I have more money in the bank, then I'll go and do these things to generate more clients, and then I'll become a success. Well, it's like, no. You have to reverse it around, and it's like, okay, what can I be right now? Well, I can be more productive, okay, and go do that. I'm a productive person. I can be more productive every single day and go do the production that I need to do so I can have more money. And it's like people are, and they just sit stagnant in this thing, waiting for something to happen. And listen, a bad plan is a good plan. Most people, what they do is they're waiting for the perfect thing to happen so then they can go execute, but then they just sit. They just sit waiting for the perfect time until I have that thing, until this perfect moment. And I'd rather you have a bad plan and go execute it, and then you learn along the way. Like that's what happens is then you iterate and you learn things, as I've talked about before. That's what learning really is. It's iteration. But if you're not doing anything, if you're waiting until you have something to do it, nothing's going to happen. You have nothing to work on. So I've really tried to help many of our clients embrace that. You got to be it first, then do it, and you'll have it. And we have a philosophy: believe, behave, become. You have to believe that you're doing this and behave in those manners, and you will become that thing. It's the same as be, do, have, right? But it's you have to put that first. It's the time of waiting until you have certain things or have the right time or it's never going to happen if you don't do something.
It becomes that excuse.
That's why
right?
I'm talking about it. Yeah, like
it's just that big, massive excuse. When I have this, I'll do this, and then I can become that. Right? It's just a massive excuse, and you just bury yourself in that. But if you just be the thing that you are right now, that will allow you to set the intention that you need to build the momentum to bring more business in, to sell your product, to work with the people you need to be with. It's be the intention. If you can be the intention, the reason for why you're doing this, the reason why we're all doing this is to be something. So if you just be that thing now, you can set the intention to build the momentum so that everyone starts to seek you out, right? You want people to but if you put that energy, well, I'm just going to wait, then you're going to be seeking instead of being sought, right? And that's a big difference. And if you don't put that energy out there, and you will never build that momentum, and you will never accrue the people that you expect to have. So you want to be that coach, then be that coach, whether it's for free or for charging people. Just be the coach. Genuinely help people. We were talking to one of our clients yesterday who's struggling to make sales, and we just said, stop selling. Be the coach, be that person, because if you can be that person, it will come to you. But you're waiting to get the client to be the coach. No, be the fucking coach. Yeah. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, it's too many times when people are just constantly worried about selling and leads, and they forget why they are doing what they're doing. And it's like, nobody wants to work for free. I get that. But sometimes you have to just do the thing that you're doing. You just have to help people, right? And that's what every business is doing. You're helping somebody. And if you help enough people, then people eventually will pay you. And I'm certainly not advocating for you to give everything away for free. But if all you're doing is selling and selling and selling and selling, then you're getting away from helping and helping and helping. So either hire somebody and let them do that for you, okay, and hold them to certain standards, or start helping somebody. And eventually what will happen is then you'll be able to, instead of selling people, you could be sold on this is the person that you should work with, right? A lot of times when you're helping somebody, then you determine, like, I should sell them. And when you come at it in the beginning of, like, I should sell you first and then see if I can help you, and if that's your mindset, it's like, I have to go make sales today, well, then you're just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And it never works out well unless you're doing massive volumes of that. And are you in a business where you want to be a telemarketer? Because that's what telemarketers do, right? It's just they're calling random people and selling them and then finding out, do you need my product or service? And it's like, it's not a great way of building a business if you're in a relationship style business. You're not in a transactional style business.
Yeah, I think that's as you were talking there, I thought about it. It's the being. If you could just be then your intention shifts to the right things. Like you said, if you want to be the salesperson, go be the salesperson. But if you want to be the coach, go be the coach, because the intention is going to be different depending what role you're fulfilling at that moment. And I think as business owners, especially solopreneurs, you get caught up in all the different roles that you play, and it's hard sometimes to be the main thing you want to be because you have to do all the other things. But your intention each day needs to be the ultimate thing you're trying to be. And if it's for being a coach, or if it's being a social media content creator, whatever it is, go out and be that thing, and then you will attract, because that's part of living your purpose, right? We use our roles to express our purpose. I've said this over and over. Like, you can't, my purpose in life, and has always been to help other people live better lives. And I've done that in a variety of different roles. And my intention as a physician assistant was to help people have better lives because of their health. Now, as a coach, my intention is to help people live better lives by taking more control of their life and eliminating the excuses and the obstacles that get in the way, submitting to their realities and recognizing they are these people. And if they want to be someone different, they're going to have to make the changes to do that. But the purpose is the same. And that's what gives the intention. And the intention is your why. Why are you doing exactly what you're doing? And if you are just trying to make sales, then you're not being the coach that you want to be, or the creator you want to be. You're being something that you're not. And when we evade our purpose, when we don't allow ourselves to serve our purpose, that detracts our energy and puts it in a different direction. And that's why the things that we're trying to do don't work out. That's why the sales don't get made. That's why the people don't want to work with you. That's why nothing happens and you're just stagnant. So be your purpose, because if you be your purpose, I feel weird saying it that way, but be your purpose, you will be the intention, you will be the result of everything that you're trying to do.
Nice. Good place to stop, pal.
Yeah,
See you
man.
next week.